What if you could reset your entire mind in just 7 days? Imagine stepping out of the noise of endless notifications, distractions, and scattered thoughts, and entering a mental space where your focus is razor sharp and your energy feels limitless. This is not a fantasy. It is a practice grounded in timeless Stoic wisdom and sharpened by modern science on habits, focus, and mental clarity. We live in an age where attention has become the most valuable currency, and every app, every screen, every message fights to steal it from you. Yet more than 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal about guarding his inner citadel from external chaos. Seneca urged his students to cut away unnecessary desires to preserve vitality. Epictetus reminded his followers that freedom begins when we master our own impulses. For 7 days, he will step into this Stoic training ground. Each day brings a new exercise, not abstract philosophy, but practical discipline you can feel in your body, mind, and emotions. You do not need to believe in it now. The only proof that matters is what happens when you put it into action. Think of this challenge as an experiment, a test that transforms you from a distracted observer into a disciplined participant. This journey is not about doing more. It is about doing less of what drains you, so you reclaim what already belongs to you: your focus, your clarity, your strength. The mornings will feel lighter, the afternoons more controlled, and the evenings calmer. You will not simply survive the week, you will sharpen yourself in the process. The Stoics called life a battlefield of the mind where the real victories are silent. You are the gladiator entering the arena, and these next 7 days are your trial by fire. Every challenge you accept becomes a shield, every reflection a weapon, every act of discipline a step toward freedom. Across the world, others are starting the same challenge, choosing to test themselves instead of living on autopilot. This is a movement of modern Stoic warriors who refuse to waste their lives in distraction. And now you stand at the edge, deciding whether to step inside. Before we begin, I want to know, from which country or city are you watching this? Share it in the comments so we can see where this network of discipline is rising. But be prepared. The first lesson won't be what you expect. It doesn't start with doing more, it starts with doing less. Silence is power. Silence is not emptiness. It is fuel. In a world that constantly demands your reaction, silence becomes the rarest resource you can claim. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by the chaos of war and politics, carved out moments to write to himself in quiet, building an inner fortress that no external noise could penetrate. He understood that clarity does not appear in the middle of noise. It appears when the noise is cut away. The challenge begins with 5 minutes of digital exile. No phone, no notifications, no scrolling. Just you and silence. At first, those minutes will feel heavy, like your mind is searching desperately for stimulation, but stay there. Let the urge pass. You will notice something strange happening. Beneath the itch of distraction lies a calm that has been waiting to return. The truth is that every beep, vibration, and alert drains you in ways you do not see. Each one pulls a piece of your focus away, scattering your mind into fragments. Silence stitches those fragments back together. What feels uncomfortable in the beginning becomes the most powerful reset you can give your brain. Modern neuroscience confirms what the Stoics practiced. Attention is not infinite. It is fuel. And when you burn it on trivial interruptions, you arrive at the end of the day exhausted, not because you worked hard, but because you never stopped switching. Silence reclaims that energy. It rebuilds your mental battery. Think of silence as a lens that sharpens your vision. Without it, life is blurry, like a camera that cannot focus. With it, the details come alive. The Stoics did not seek silence for escape. They sought it for strength, to return sharper, calmer, and unshakable in action. Your task is simple but difficult. protect 5 minutes of silence each morning. No excuses, no delays. Those minutes will set the tone for everything else that follows. They are the foundation on which the other 6 days will stand. At first, you will resist. Your hand will itch toward your phone. But remember, discipline begins when desire whispers and you refuse to obey. In those minutes, you are not losing anything. You are reclaiming yourself, but silence alone is not enough. It is the doorway, not the destination. The Stoics knew clarity must be anchored in movement because energy without direction fades away. The energy of controlled motion. Life is not meant to be lived in stillness alone. Seneca wrote that life is long if you know how to use it, and one of the simplest ways to honor time is through deliberate movement. The Stoics often walked as they thought, pacing slowly through gardens or city streets, letting motion sync with reflection. They knew that clarity is not born only in silence, but also in the rhythm of steps that steady the mind. Your challenge today is to reclaim walking as a tool of focus, not as a background act. For 10 minutes, leave behind distractions and step outside. No music, no podcasts, no scrolling. Walk deliberately, paying attention to the feeling of each step, the rhythm of your breathing, and the world around you. Let your thoughts fall into place, not forced, but shaped by motion. This is not exercise in the sense of chasing calories or speed. It is exercise for your mind. Each step clears dust off the mirror of your attention. Each breath anchors you back to the present. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to return to nature, to see the universe as a whole and not get trapped in trivialities. A mindful walk does exactly that. Modern science confirms what the ancients practiced. Movement restores mental clarity. Studies show that walking improves memory, sparks creativity, and lowers stress. What philosophers intuited by practice, researchers now prove with data. The mind sharpens when the body moves. When you walk with intention, overthinking begins to dissolve. The constant spinning of the mind slows, as if your brain realizes it does not need to solve everything at once. The path in front of you becomes enough, and your worries shrink back into perspective. The beauty of this practice is its simplicity. You don't need equipment or preparation. Just your legs, your breath, and your attention. Yet its effect compounds over time. These 10 minutes of deliberate motion can reset an entire day of scattered focus. Think of this as carrying silence into movement. The clarity you created yesterday does not vanish when you rise from stillness. It deepens as you walk. You are teaching yourself to be calm while in motion, disciplined even in activity. Yet even motion, if left without purpose, drifts into aimlessness. To protect energy, the Stoics demanded direction. And that is where the next challenge begins. Discipline. The ritual of discipline. Discipline is not restriction. It is preservation of energy. Every time you surrender to impulse, you leak focus and strength. The Stoics knew this truth intimately. Epictetus, once a slave, discovered freedom not by chasing pleasure, but by mastering his responses. He showed that the chain on the mind is far stronger than the chain on the body, and discipline is the key that breaks it. Your challenge is to cut away one unnecessary habit for the next 24 hours. It could be endless scrolling, late-night snacking, or constant refreshing of notifications. Do not see it as punishment, but as training. When you deliberately step into discomfort, you sharpen your will. What feels like sacrifice is actually an investment. You are buying back focus that was already yours. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort not to suffer, but to prove to themselves they could. Seneca would sleep on a hard bed to remind himself that luxury was not a need, but a preference. By removing comforts for a time, he found strength waiting beneath them. That same principle applies today when you set aside dopamine-driven habits. Modern psychology calls it a dopamine detox. Ancient philosophy called it preparation for life. By resisting the small temptations, you build the muscle to resist larger ones. Each no is a brick added to the fortress of your character. Over time, that fortress becomes unshakable. Notice how quickly energy returns when discipline directs it. Without impulses dragging you in every direction, you conserve fuel for what matters. Focus is not created, it is protected. And discipline is the gatekeeper. This practice is not about perfection. You will feel the itch to break your own rule, and that is the point. The resistance you face is the workout. It is the very sensation that shapes you. Discipline is born not when life is easy, but when temptation whispers and you stand firm. Think of today as forging armor. The moment you cut away one habit, you free yourself to step into tasks with greater sharpness. Energy that once leaked into distractions now fuels clarity. But freedom from excess is just the beginning. The real test comes when you face the battlefield of daily life, where chaos presses in and only one weapon can keep you steady: focus. The sharpness of focus. Focus is the sword of the Stoic. Without it, discipline scatters and endurance weakens. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to stay within the boundaries of what he could control and ignore the rest. The mind is not endless. It cannot fight every battle. But when directed toward what truly matters, it becomes unstoppable. Your challenge today is to take a single sheet of paper and write one sentence. What is in my control today? List only what belongs to you, your actions, your choices, your words, your attitude. Do not write down outcomes, applause, or circumstances beyond reach. This simple act is a filter. It cuts through the fog of life and reveals where your energy should go. The brilliance of this practice is its simplicity. Instead of carrying the weight of everything, you carry only what fits in your hand. Energy stops leaking into what cannot be changed. Focused this way, even small actions feel powerful because they are directed with purpose. Modern productivity experts echo what the Stoics already knew. Cal Newport calls it deep work, the ability to direct unbroken focus toward meaningful tasks. James Clear frames it through habits, small, consistent choices that compound into mastery. Both point to the same truth. Clarity reduces fatigue because it removes unnecessary wrestling with the impossible. When you decide what belongs to you, distractions lose their grip. Anxiety fades because you no longer fight unwinnable wars. Your mind steadies, and with that steadiness comes a surge of energy. This is why Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That sentence is not just philosophy. It is a shield. Picture yourself as a commander in battle. A commander does not waste arrows shooting at storms. He saves them for the real enemy. When you focus only on what is in your control, you become that commander, conserving energy for the fights that matter. The more often you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Each day, the fog clears a little more. What once drained you now passes by like background noise. Focus sharpens the edge of your will, and energy flows where it can actually create change. But even the sharpest blade is useless if it breaks at the first strike. To sustain focus, you must build endurance. And that is where the next lesson begins. Building Stoic endurance. Energy is not discovered by accident. It is forged through endurance. The Stoics understood that strength of mind and body is built when we lean into effort, not away from it. Seneca reminded his students that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor strengthens the body. To grow sharper, you must face resistance willingly and finish what you begin. Your challenge is to choose one task today that feels heavy, tedious, or inconvenient and finish it without escape. It could be cleaning a neglected corner, completing an unfinished project, or pushing through a workout you've been avoiding. Do not seek comfort or shortcuts. Endurance is born when you meet discomfort directly and remain until the task is done. This practice is not about the size of the task, but about the quality of your attention. By completing what you set out to do, you send a message to yourself. I can endure. That message multiplies over time. Each completed challenge becomes a stone in the foundation of your resilience. Modern psychology echoes this Stoic wisdom. Studies show that perseverance builds confidence and rewires the brain to expect success. The more you endure, the more natural it becomes to approach effort without fear. What once felt like a mountain becomes a routine climb. The hidden gift of endurance is consistency. Endurance teaches you to keep moving even when motivation disappears. Motivation is unreliable. Endurance is dependable. It carries you through the moments when you would normally quit. In this way, endurance becomes the hidden engine of energy. Think of endurance as resistance training for your soul. Just as lifting weights tears muscle fibers so they grow back stronger, enduring discomfort strengthens the fibers of your character. What once drained you begins to fuel you because you no longer fear the weight of effort. At the end of today, reflect on how it feels to have completed the task you resisted. That small victory will echo louder than any comfort avoided. It proves you can go further, last longer, and stand firmer than you thought. But endurance alone can harden into stubbornness if left unchecked. To prevent that, the Stoics paired endurance with reflection, the mirror that transforms raw effort into wisdom. The daily mirror of reflection. The Stoics ended their days not with noise, but with a mirror. Marcus Aurelius filled page after page with reflections, not for an audience, but to sharpen himself. Seneca advised his students to review each night. What did I do well? Where did I fail? What can I do better tomorrow? This practice was not about guilt, but about growth. Reflection was their secret weapon to turn each day, no matter how messy, into progress. Your challenge is to create a nightly ritual of reflection. Before sleep, sit in silence for a few minutes and ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I allow weakness or distraction? What will I adjust tomorrow? Keep the answers simple and honest. This is not about perfection, it is about clarity. Reflection converts mistakes into fuel and victories into anchors. This habit creates a rhythm of accountability. Instead of drifting from day to day, you build a continuous line of improvement. Yesterday teaches today. Today shapes tomorrow. With time, the mirror of reflection becomes sharper, and your actions align more naturally with your intentions. Modern psychology confirms the power of reflection. Cognitive behavioral therapy uses similar techniques to uncover thought patterns and change them. Journaling reduces stress, increases self-awareness, and strengthens decision-making. What the Stoics practiced with wax tablets and candlelight, you can replicate with a notebook or even the quiet space of your own mind. Reflection clears mental clutter. It strips away the noise of the day and leaves only what matters. That clarity restores energy overnight. Instead of lying awake replaying mistakes, you release them into the mirror and replace them with direction. You sleep lighter because tomorrow already has shape. Imagine Marcus Aurelius by candlelight, recording the turbulence of ruling an empire, yet ending each entry with reminders to stay calm, disciplined, and just. If an emperor carrying the weight of Rome could reflect nightly, how much more can you in your own life? This practice is less about writing and more about seeing yourself honestly, seeing your growth over time. The mirror may not flatter, but it never lies. It forces you to meet the truth and improve from it. But reflection cannot end in thought alone. The Stoics demanded that words match deeds. And that brings us to the next challenge, aligning your life with your values. Aligning words and deeds. Energy is wasted most where life is divided. When you say one thing but live another, the mind carries a constant weight of conflict. The Stoics believed integrity was not an ideal but a necessity. Epictetus warned that philosophy is meaningless if it is only spoken. It must be lived. Words without deeds are empty, and emptiness drains energy. Alignment restores it. Your challenge is to choose one value you hold: honesty, discipline, patience, or courage, and live it deliberately for a single day. Do not announce it. Do not explain it. Simply embody it in every action, choice, and response. Notice how different the day feels when your inner voice and your outer life finally move in the same rhythm. Living aligned generates calm authority. You do not need to prove yourself because your actions prove you. This removes the hidden exhaustion of pretending. Every lie, every mask, every excuse creates a fracture in the self. Integrity heals those fractures and frees the energy that was once wasted holding up false walls. Modern psychology echoes this truth. Studies on self-congruence show that alignment between values and behavior leads to higher well-being and stronger focus. When you stop carrying the weight of inner contradiction, the mind feels lighter, sharper, and more present. Think of alignment as energy conservation. Just as a machine runs smoother when all its parts work together, a life aligned with its values runs without friction. When you cut hypocrisy, you cut the noise. Energy flows directly into what matters, undiluted and powerful. Imagine a Stoic walking through the marketplace. He is not swayed by gossip or tempted by wealth because his actions match his principles. Others sense his steadiness. They may not know his thoughts, but they feel his presence. That is the quiet authority alignment produces. This practice is not about perfection but direction. You will stumble, but even the effort to align creates strength. Each time you bring action back to value, you reinforce the bond between who you are and who you aim to be. And when presence becomes unshakable, you are ready for the final lesson, turning your life outward into service that multiplies energy instead of consuming it. Stoic service and lasting energy. The Stoics never saw life as a private achievement. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he was a citizen of the universe, bound to serve more than himself. Epictetus taught that greatness is not measured by words spoken, but by the good done for others. Service, far from draining energy, multiplies it because it connects your life to a force larger than your own survival. Your challenge is to perform one deliberate act of service today. It does not need to be grand. Hold space for a friend who is struggling, encourage someone who feels unseen, or lend your strength to lighten another's burden. The size of the act does not matter. What matters is intention. When you step beyond yourself, you draw from a deeper source of energy that isolation can never reach. Service shifts the center of your life. Fatigue often comes from living only for yourself, from looping endlessly around your own worries. When you serve, those loops break. The focus widens. Energy rises because purpose expands. Marcus called this being part of the greater whole, like a hand serving the body. To resist service is to resist your own nature. Modern science reflects this truth. Studies show that acts of kindness reduce stress, increase resilience, and even strengthen the immune system. Helping others is not weakness. It is fuel for endurance. What ancient philosophy practiced in principle, modern research now validates. Picture the gladiator who steps into the arena, not for glory, but to inspire those watching. His strength is amplified because he fights for something larger than himself. Service turns struggle into meaning, and meaning transforms exhaustion into energy. This final lesson reframes the challenge. The 7 days you've lived were never just about you. They were training so you could show up stronger for the world around you. Silence, motion, discipline, focus, endurance, reflection, and alignment. All of them prepare you for service. Without service, the chain is incomplete. With it, energy becomes lasting. Now the experiment is in your hands. The challenge does not end here. it only begins. 7 days is a spark. A lifetime of practice is the fire. The question is whether you will carry it forward or let it fade. If this challenge spoke to you, tell me in the comments which city or country you are starting from, and more importantly, will you continue past 7 days?